And we are live. Welcome to the political. See, knew it. We
How's she going?
are live. Welcome to the political orphans. My name is Nico Lagan, and I am.
You fucked it up already.
Okay, well, shut the hell up. Stop talking. How the fuck am I supposed to get an intro if you're blah 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 blah? Shut the hell up. Okay, now hold on. You know what I'm gonna do?
Right.
Before every intro, I'm just gonna mute
Let's start
you.
over.
No, I'll mute you. Pow! See, there you go. You're muted. Okay, on that note, welcome to the political orphans. My name is Nico Lagan, and I am the in-house conservative. This is Rob, our token lefty, and together we will talk about what is trending in the news today. Our goal is simple. We want to show you that it is still possible for the left and the right to get along, even if we don't agree, because common sense has no political affiliation. On that note,
very nice.
Not bad, right? First time.
Not bad.
Not bad.
First time.
I'll listen to it later to see how much I fucked it up. But hey, I'm not going to praise myself. I'll listen to it afterwards. But the point in the matter is that we want to make it clear to anybody that's new to the show what we do, why we do it, because I think it's important to prove to people that we can still have conversations although we don't agree, because like I said, common sense should not be based on political affiliation. It should just be common sense. 80% we should agree on. 80% should be common sense. Then the 20% we can argue on and debate. And before we get started, I want to invite you, everybody that's listening to this, please comment. This is why we do it live. So make sure to comment. Make sure to tell us how you feel about what we're saying. If we're right, if we're wrong, if I'm full of shit, probably, especially me. If you like my French accent,
tell us how you feel about Nico's accent. Yeah, there's been a few fan comments about that.
Ooh, it normally doesn't come from heterosexual guys. I can tell you that much.
No, no, definitely not. But
don't be a hater, Rob. Don't be a hater.
It's in my blood. I was born a hater. My father was a hater. I come from a long line of haters. So let's talk.
I'm gonna bring your mother into this. I'm gonna bring your mother into this. Is your mother a hater?
Mom, No. My mom, no. She's like the sweetest person in the world. The hating comes from my dad's side.
I'm always going to try to bring your mom to the conversation just in case she's listening.
I can tell. She actually does listen a lot.
Hey, Mom. Hey, Mom.
Yeah. She'll like that. I'm sure she'll text me here soon. Tell Nico I said hi.
Hi,
so
Mom. What's her
before
name?
We get into it, Jody.
What's her name though?
Jody.
Hey, Jody.
Yeah.
Hey.
I'm watching,
you want to talk about the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah, just I mean, it's out there. It's topical. Let's first of all, I guess, how was the game? Like, I think you had said earlier, you're not a huge sports fan. Yes?
Oh no, I'm a sports fan, but I like real sports. Like I like fighting sports. So I'm not a. I will see anything live though. I've seen football live. I've seen soccer live.
And
I've seen fighting live.
Right? You got to watch.
Would I go to the Super Bowl? I would, but I'm not going to watch it. I don't watch that on TV, man. I'm not a fan of watching sports on TV. No. Doesn't do it for me, man. Really? I've been athletic my whole life. I like to play. If you told me we're going to play football now, we're going to go play. But watching it on TV, I don't know. It doesn't do it for me.
You had commented there on Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce's relationship status. What's your take on that?
I just thought it was funny. I saw a post somewhere where, there's some. I'll start with this, even if the theory is not from me, but I've seen a lot of conspiracy theories.
I'll keep mine handy just in case.
Yeah, just in case. But supposedly that the NFL is. Just in case supposedly that the NFL is all scripted, especially the Super Bowl. Like over the past few years, you keep on hearing that. And even yesterday, I saw a bunch of videos where people are trying to call out the result. This is what's going to happen and this. And within the first quarter, they were full of shit. It wasn't even there. But one of them I thought was...
I'm going to put mine on for sure.
But one of them I found... absolutely hilarious is this is when Taylor Swift is going to break up with Travis Kelce, which I thought it was funny after, because I know they lost. I know the Chief lost. So I just made a video this morning because I like to say dumb shit every now and then, especially if it's trending. I'll say dumb shit.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's funny. Part of the culture. It is.
All I said literally is that not only did Taylor Swift get booed, but her boyfriend Travis Kelce probably needed to be reassured or hugged after the game since they lost. And then I went to say that this is not good for him, because we all know what Taylor Swift does best. She breaks up with her boyfriends and then she makes a song about it. And I think she's due for a new hit right now. She's due for a new song, for a new hit right now. So it's not good for Kelce, because I don't think she it's been a while. Huh? They've been together for a while now. So it's probably
I heard
time.
that if they had won, he was probably going to propose. I mean, who even knows, right?
Although, I heard that too. It's not the same thing when the man himself is crying. Will you marry me?
Yeah, oh, we lost the football game. Yeah, did you see him crying as he left the field? I was like, oh, for fuck's sake.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Get a grip of yourself.
He's kind of a bitch,
like,
right?
What was that scene? That scene from the Godfather when
But he's kind of a bitch. Like, compared to his father, to his brother, I think his brother retired last year. I don't think he's playing anymore. But his brother seemed more manly than him. And I think he played the Eagles. He played for the Eagles. So if he was playing this year, they would have.
Yeah, he did.
They would have gone one against the other, right?
That would have been cool.
But I like the brother better. He seems like the older brother that's more manly. And then Kelsey's kind of the little bitch.
More stable.
Cries. More stable.
Well, we know you like your men manly. You're
100%.
Men manly. That's
100%. I like them fuzzy hair.
You like the bears. But actually, before we move on, because obviously we're just kind of shooting the shit about a topical topic, but that there is a little bit there that actually is relevant to our sort of what we talk about here, politics and culture on this show. And I thought that was really interesting. I'm not surprised that Taylor Swift got booed, just because I feel like she's pretty overexposed, and it's just people are going to boo her. But I was pretty surprised when Donald Trump got oh, there's my mom now. She says, hi, Nico. But
hey, Jody.
But I mean, that's a whole stadium full of people, right? What was it, 70, 80,000 people? Like, and there was no ambiguity about that cheer. It was like unanimous. We've talked a lot on the show about a vibe shift, and I mean that's another sign. Like, imagine 4 years ago, or I guess 8 years ago when he first got elected, I don't think you would have seen a cheer like that. So it's pretty interesting, because it was not like a half and half. There was just a massive stadium. So it's just more evidence of that vibe shift that we keep talking about. And as the resident lefty on the show, that's always going to be my perspective. And what I would say is, Democrats and left-leaning parties need to start pulling their head out of their ass. Like, the Trump is evil, Trump's a Nazi, fascist. That's just not going to fly anymore, because the American people clearly do not believe that. There has been a major vibe shift, and Democrats need to start being principled opposition and not just going after Trump personally, regardless of what you feel about him, because it's a loser. It's a political loser. And yeah, I mean, I thought that was really interesting to see that, because it wasn't, I don't know if you were watching the game, but it was a unambiguous cheer in a pretty large stadium where you're going to have a large cross section of people. It wasn't a Donald Trump rally. Football, especially the Super Bowl, is pretty nonpartisan. Despite efforts in recent years to try to make it partisan, most people just want to go watch football. You know what I mean? They're not there for politics. And to get that kind of a response, I thought that was pretty interesting.
Well, it's not, to me, it's not surprising either. Like, I'm not surprised that Donald Trump got cheered. You should see him at a UFC event. it's the same thing, right?
Oh, well, sure. But that makes that. I mean, USC is clearly conservative coded, right? I would expect that. But I thought at the Super Bowl, I thought that was telling. Democrats need to start paying attention.
But I don't think it was. This to me doesn't surprise me at all, because at the same time, it's mostly the same people. If you look at the people that likes the UFC, Americans, chances are they really like the NFL too. So not the NFL likes the UFC, but the people that loves the UFC probably do love the NFL as well. So I'm not surprised by this. I'm not surprised that she got booed either, because she, it's time for actors to shut the fuck up and just go back to acting. Because
that's part of the
political opinion, we don't care. Like, what the fuck do you have to bring to my life? You live a life that is not real, and all you do for a living is fake. That's all you do. So basically, if you take for granted that you are what you do, that means every single actor out there is a faker, because that's all they do. They fake to be something they're not. So what the fuck do you bring to the table? Just do movies. Just do movies. Shut the hell up and leave
as
the
a group. I
suspect
actors are probably fairly high on the personality disorder scale as a group. I'm sure some are fine.
Oh yeah,
but you
100%.
Just to even want to do that. But did you see the look on her face when she was booed? She was genuinely surprised.
Did you see the meme? The old school meme where it's just like kind of a dog looking face that's just like this, and then he does this. Like,
it's just,
yeah. Somebody posted that yesterday. Somebody posted that meme, and then they did the same with Taylor Swift, and they're like, "Yep, sorry."
Yeah, and it looks exactly
Taylor Swift
like
meme
it.
but the first one is going to disappear. Now Taylor Swift is becoming one of the most popular memes.
Try to find that.
I don't know how you call that. Taylor Swift.
Just put Taylor Swift's dog meme. It'll come up. And while you're doing that, we do have a little bit of news for the show that the viewers may not be aware of yet. We're going to have a special guest here on February 18th, is it?
Yep.
Maxime Bernier, the leader of the People's Party of Canada, which is obviously super cool for the show to have someone, with that. Like, he was a hairbreadth away of being the Conservative Party leader. He was the Minister of Foreign Affairs in years past. So I mean, he's a well-known guy, regardless of how you feel about his politics. And actually, I did want to segue a little bit into that, because when we had posted that on the podcast account on X, there was a couple people are sort of like, who gives a shit? Like, fuck this guy, blah blah blah. And I wanted to highlight that, because that's exactly the thing that we need to get away from on the left. This idea that someone doesn't align with your beliefs, so they shouldn't have a voice. You don't need to listen to them. You don't need to agree with them. Like, are you so? A strong mind can listen to someone's opinion and does not need to be persuaded by it. It almost seems like you're admitting to being weak-minded when you're so terrified of just desperately hearing, so desperately terrified of hearing an opinion that you don't agree with. And like I'd said to that person on the thing, I was like, listen, like, this is not going to be a softball interview. Like, I'm here as a lefty. I'm gonna be asking questions from that liberal perspective. At the end of the day, you don't have to agree with him, but we need to get away from just not listening to people. That's a huge issue on the left right now, just the culture of the left. And again, it leads us down a road where we're in an echo chamber. We never hear anyone's different opinions, and what ends up happening is you lose elections like they did in November, and they're shocked. They were shocked that Kamala lost so badly. And it's because you're not listening to the other side. You have no idea what's really going on. And at the end of the day, if nothing else, you still want to hear what your opponents have to say, so that you can then come up with better rebuttals of their takes. You know what I mean? If you don't even listen to them, how can you oppose them?
But it's even more than that, at least for me, is I want to show that there's something else than just the conservative and the liberals. Because unlike the Americans just have the Democrats and they just have the Republicans. But we don't have, as much as Pierre Poilievre's party is called the Conservatives. They're not the equivalent of the Republicans in the U.S. Like, there's no such. We do not have a more right-leaning. No, but Americans don't understand that. Americans hear Pierre Poilievre and they look at the Conservatives. They're like, "Oh, Kiki, that's the equivalent of." No, nowhere fucking close. Like, all of our parties
typically
are
our
very
conservative
left.
party leaders are
leftists.
Will be probably center left in the United States.
Harper's the last one that was a real. Stephen Harper from 10 years ago, give or take, was the prime minister prior to Justin Trudeau, and he's the only one that was really. He's the last one that was a somewhere in the middle of like left of middle, closer to a libertarian. But since Harper retired from politics and Andrew Scheer took over, and now Pierre Poilievre, he's left. They're right leftists, but they're nowhere close to the middle. But if you look at a guy like
maybe we'll get Poilievre on the show someday.
But the point is that if you look at a guy like Maxime Bernier, who worked for Stephen Harper, was one of his ministers, he is more aligned with what Harper was 10 years ago. Like, if I would be very curious to see what Stephen Harper thinks of the Conservative Party now that Poilievre is in power, compared to what Maxime Bernier is saying. I got a feeling that they would be a lot better aligned. But all to say that the reason I reached out to Maxime Bernier to have him on the show is really because, to me, he's closer to my politics as a conservative guy. He's closer. Sure. What he talks about is what I talk about. He's closer to what I want as a politician, and he doesn't back down from tough decision, because we sent him some topics. They did not want to know the questions. They're like, okay, yeah, that's fine, whatever. We just want to have an idea of where you want to go with this, so that he knows. But outside of that, he's
coming on live. He's coming on. A lot of politicians wouldn't do that either.
I respect the guy already. Like, I like the way his team is approaching it. So we'll see. But yeah, February 18th at noon Eastern, live on X as well as on YouTube at the Pulley Orphans. If you have any questions that you want to ask him, let us know. We will pick one question from what we receive, and we will ask it live to Maxime Bernier. And we'll see where it goes. I'm pretty excited, because I can tell you something, though. This is the first one of many. There's a lot of politicians out there that we both want to talk to, left and right, center, whatever. I'd like to have a Ted Cruz. I'd like to have a Featherman. I'd like to have a Pierre Poilievre.
I'd love to get Fetterman. I'd love to get Fetterman.
Oh, yeah. Oh, but this is a matter of time. We'll work with it afterwards. But we both want to bring more politicians to the table to be able to ask them tough questions and give them an opportunity to talk to the middle. Because, man, as you say all the time, the left needs to change. And unfortunately, I don't see it happening, because, as you'll see today, because there's three things we wanted to talk about today. There's three things on the menu. First, we want to talk about Trump's new tariffs on steel and aluminum. We want to talk about the federal judge that blocked access to DOGE. So they don't want them to access the Treasury's payment systems. And then I want to talk something that's very connected to DOGE getting blocked, Andy Kim and the Democrat Party, because this, again, will tie up with exactly what you were talking about. How, if you hear what Andy Kim has to say about what's going on right now, you will understand that the left is not waking up to the fact that they need to do something more. They need to get their head out their asses and start realizing that people are shifting back to the middle. Like, the politics in the US is shifting to the middle. And if they don't follow suit, they will lose the little political power that they still have.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's sort of my goal. One of my goals on this show is to try to convince left-leaning parties. Oh yeah, Trouble Child here, the only leader with the
love the comment, bro.
Say men aren't women. Now, and that's great. That, like, we'd love to hear it, and we'll always respond to it on air if we have time. Does Poilievre not?
He's right, though. Well, I posted about this. This is one thing. this is one thing I don't like about
yeah,
Polyev. He likes to. Do you remember I showed you the video? He likes to politic. He likes to play the game. There's an interviewer that asked him, and he was fucking playing around with a question. He's like, well, if you know of more than 2, you should let me know and I'll consider it. Hey, asshole, just tell him. No, but just say it. If you believe that there's 2, say it. Put your big boy pants on and actually answer the question. And this is why I'm
Is that how you interpreted that? I thought he was just doing 100%. That. You know that thing that interviewer who's eating the apple that went viral. I thought it was that kind of thing that he was doing, sort of like word games. But I mean, yeah, I see your point. I feel like word games. You know what?
Let me ask you something.
On this issue?
Let me ask you something.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let me ask you something, and I'll ask you guys out there. And I'm sorry I called him an asshole. I shouldn't have called him an asshole. It's just this type of behavior absolutely drives me ballistic. But I'll ask you guys out there that are listening to this. I'll ask you, Rob. Are you tired of politicking? Would you not prefer somebody that would show up and just say, you know what? There's only 2 genders, and there's only 2 genders. Sex and gender are the same fucking thing. Gender is not a social construct. And if you don't believe that there are only 2 genders, chances are you've been indoctrinated. Or if you believe that you're not the gender that you were born with, you have psychological issues that needs to be addressed and not encouraged. Case closed, drop, and we're out. Can you imagine if a politician had the fucking balls to just say that? And this is what he had the chance to be, that guy. He had the chance to say that, to just say, hell no, there's 2 sex. And when I will be in power, I will do exactly what Trump is doing in the US. And we will make it 2 gender, 2 sex, plain and simple, done. He failed.
Yeah. I mean, I thought, I interpret it more like that was him doing his sort of thing that he does, but I see your point. I mean, I feel like word games have been played enough on this issue, and we just need to start speaking clearly. And I mean, you know, we've talked about this a lot, this idea that like there's just such a hunger out there for politicians, and not just on that issue, on so many who just don't speak like politicians. And the few, you know, we said like this is one of the reasons Trump is popular. Even if you don't like the guy, you can at least appreciate he just says what he means. Now, even if, you know, there's lots of wiggle room in there to sort of go back and forth, but broadly speaking, he doesn't speak like a politician, and that's probably one of his superpowers. Even as some, oh, there it is. It's so good.
It came out within, sorry to cut you off, but you asked for me to find it, but it came out literally, I think the Super Bowl was still going and the meme was out. Like, it was awesome.
Yeah. But it was, I mean, it's pretty funny though, because I mean, yeah, obviously it's just on some level just kind of funny and haha, it's a funny moment. But it, you know, as for what it says about the culture, it is interesting because it's sort of a microcosm of what's going on, where the elites at the top are not yet aware that this massive shift has occurred at the bottom, and you're going to see a lot of, you know, politicians over the next 6 months doing that sort of look. Maybe not literally doing it, but like the meaning behind it, that sort of, oh shit, things have changed. I think most of us that are down here at ground level that are somewhat, you know, plugged in to the culture, I think we all sense this shift. But I think a lot of the elites just don't really recognize it yet. You know, there's still a lot of people on the left who think Kamala lost because she wasn't left enough. They said she wasn't. Yeah, they said she didn't speak enough about, you know, Palestine. She didn't speak enough about trans people. And I mean, that's just such a massively ridiculous reading of the situation. However, I mean, it shows that a lot of what the sort of the prevailing wisdom or lack thereof that exists on the left right now. And again, which is one of the things I'm trying to do as a liberal, as a lefty, I'm, you know, tearing my hair out. When we started the show a week ago, I had a full head of hair, and now look at me. But, you know, I'm tearing my hair out, trying to say like, stop, we're going the wrong way. We turn this thing around. And because at the end of the day, even if you agree with all the politics and the positions of you know, current liberal orthodoxy, you still have to be a pragmatic a little bit. You still have to be a realist, and you have to understand it doesn't matter if you agree with those things. If the Democrats can't get elected. You know what I mean? You need to be elected in order to put in your policies. And even if you agree with a policy, if that policy is keeping you from getting elected, you need to fucking drop it. But the left is all about their purity tests, and
but it's not going to happen anytime soon.
They'll learn eventually. But
no, I don't think they're going to learn anytime soon, because you'll see the video I found. It's you'll see exactly what I mean, because from it is not going to change anytime soon. How did you lose your hair? I could have sworn
my hair has my hair has been MIA for a very long time. I started.
Do you know her?
I started losing my hair when I was like 29. No, nope.
Love it.
But no, I mean, yeah, I was joking when I said I had hair when the show started. I absolutely did not.
But this yesterday shows that Trump is doing something right, at least that the Americans are approving of him. And I haven't watched this video, but I'm curious to see.
You want to briefly talk about his approval ratings?
I want to show the video. I have a video on it that actually they ran Fox ran a poll. I haven't watched the video. I wanted to be surprised with you guys, but I think it's worth it. I think it's worth 5 minutes to go through it and see what Americans are saying. So let's check it out.
Yep. Let's see it.
Bringing the new Israeli ambassador to the United States, Michael Leiter. Mr. Ambassador, thank you for joining us this afternoon.
Good to be with you.
Welcome to Washington, and what has been your first order of business in discussions with the Trump administration?
Well, the Prime Minister was the first foreign leader to visit Washington. We had.
Should this be?
That is definitely not the video I was watching earlier.
Weapons, because they're crazy.
Oh, that is so dumb.
Well, if you want to,
no, I know what they did is because they actually changed the top. Oh, a bunch of assholes. They removed the video I was looking at. Well, okay. I'll find another one. Okay. But from what I was getting, his approval rating is actually surprisingly good.
53.
Surprisingly, yeah, 53%. I saw places that were at 60.
Yep.
I saw places that were saying 60-40, and it.
So I mean, go ahead.
But this is not going to change, because there's such a massive portion of the people on the left are not going to agree with, let's say, what he's doing with Palestine. Like with Gaza, for example, there's a lot of, and even people in the middle are not going to agree with what he's talking about.
Anybody agrees with what he's doing in Palestine right now?
Oh no, that's not true. That's not true, man. Because I follow a lot of more MAGA people. Like, I follow people from all spectrum, but a lot of the MAGA people are okay with what he's doing. Okay. They're actually defending his actions. But time will tell. Really? But I will try to find another one for tomorrow, because this one was good. Like, I had started the beginning. I'm like, oh shit, okay, this is actually solid. This should be a good one. But for some reason, they changed the video on the actual post. That's kind of annoying.
So, thing about Trump's approval ratings is it's always a bit depressed, right? They're always kind of low. Like, I feel like a 53% for him is probably, because there's always people it's like his polling has always been bad, right? Like, he's always tended to outperform his polling in both of the elections he was in. If you remember, he was supposed to lose fairly handily to Hillary, and he ended up winning. It certainly wasn't a landslide. In fact, you could say he squeaked in, but he won, and he wasn't supposed to. I think with Kamala, it was a toss-up, but he ended up winning in a landslide. So he has a history of whatever it is. Maybe people just don't like to say it to pollsters or something, or maybe they're with their husband or their wife in the car and they don't want to say it out loud. But he clearly tends to outperform his polling. But I think the more important thing is the trend is up. I don't know exactly what it was before, but it was lower than 53. So there's obviously been a lot of headlines. They haven't heard them. I think the other number I saw with that was that a 70% people agree with the statement that he is keeping his campaign promises. So again, whether you agree with what he's doing, being a politician isn't really that hard. Really, you say what you're going to do, and then you do it. And if you do that, the people that voted for you will be happy. And so far, it seems like they're happy.
Well, you know what? I found one that's not even from the US. It's from Sky News. And they tend to put actually stuff out there that's solid. Like they seem to be nonpartisan when it comes to international news. So let's see.
Polling numbers, starting with the President Trump's approval rating, now at 53%, a 6% jump. This is CBS News polling. This is the highest approval rating for President Trump in CBS polling history. And Alex, when it comes to the big issues like a deportation policy that people expect it to be really contentious, well, the numbers are even more promising. When asked, do you approve or disapprove
vibe shift.
of the Trump
I saw
administration's
60 to
program
40
find
in
and
another
deport immigrants who are in the US illegally? The approval number there is 59%, up 18%. And the numbers are up for every age group. You're looking at from 18-year-olds all the way to 65 plus. This has got to be terrifying the Democrats and the media and activist class.
It does. It should be.
Exactly right.
But it won't be.
Shaking in their boots. That's why.
Well, see, and I stopped him because I don't really care about his opinion right now. I don't want his opinion. I wanted the numbers.
Yeah. You could. No. That was the gist of it. Yep.
I think he's right though, because he was going to say that media shaking in their boots, because that's the title of the video, and he's right. Media shaking in their boots. Democrats should be scared shitless right now, and they should be. Sorry, they should be talking
and watching this show and listening to people like us.
The thing
Send
is,
Fetterman on here, Dems.
I wanted to talk about I wanted to talk about the tariffs for today, but man, we're running like already 30 minutes in because you won't shut the hell up. And but it seems that what's really going on right now, because this time we can talk about the tariffs tomorrow. They're not going to be implemented anytime soon either way, so we have plenty of time to speak about it tomorrow. But the point that you've been saying, the point that they're saying, the point that I've been trying to bring up for almost 2 years now, is that the left needs to wake up. And I found a few videos that, there's a few things that happened over the weekend, right? There's three big things that happened. The Super Bowl. But then what I'm really interested about is the fact that there's a federal judge, that blocked access to the Treasury payment system. They told DOGE that they could not access it. So I want to play a video that talks about exactly what happened. And then I want to talk about, there's another video I found about Elon Musk and Trump, what they say about that federal judge. And then there's a guy called Andy Kim, a Democrat guy, that explains what he's ready to do in order to stop Trump. And as much as I'm looking at this like a train wreck, like it's like a car wreck on the side of the highway that you can't just prevent yourself from looking at. It's too inviting. This is what I see is going on with the Democrats. You can't
look away.
I can't look away, man, because I don't understand. I will shake my head the whole way through. Like, you guys are retarded. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you people? But at the same time, they're not stopping, and it seems they're doubling down. So the first one is just an explanation as to what happened. I think it was Saturday when the judge blocked DOGE.
Efficiency, or DOGE, blocking it from accessing Treasury Department information. Fox News correspondent Lucas Tomlinson explains why the request was so controversial.
New roadblocks this weekend for President Trump's effort to overhaul the federal government. A federal judge Saturday blocking Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency, nicknamed DOGE, from accessing sensitive Treasury Department data, including Social Security and bank account numbers for millions of Americans. This after a lawsuit filed Friday by attorneys general in New York and more than a dozen other states.
This unelected group, led by the world's richest man, is not authorized to have this information.
Another judge Friday stopped DOGE from putting thousands of USAID workers on leave. The AP reports DOGE tried to use the Treasury Department to cut off USAID's funding. This despite DOGE saying it only had read-only access at the Treasury and could not change payments.
We do not have authority, sir.
Friday, DOGE officials were at the Education Department, which Trump has floated the idea of eliminating entirely. Elon's new agency is tasked with cutting waste, fraud, and overall spending. Trump says so far, they're getting the job done.
We have to take some of these things apart to find the corruption.
But critics say they're acting recklessly and without proper oversight.
These are incompetent people. They don't care about the damage they're doing.
There's also concern about what, if anything, is off limits for DOGE. President Trump says Pentagon spending could be next, but says Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid won't be touched.
Okay.
Just from that, what is your, as a lefty, and please keep that below 5 minutes, your answer. I'm always worried to ask you an answer so you don't go through that rabbit hole. But as a lefty, when you hear this, what does it make you think of when you have a federal judge and that's trying to block access to the department that has been given the task to investigate where every single penny of taxpayers' money is going, and they're blocking it because they don't want them to access it? What do you feel when you listen to this?
Nico?
There? Yeah.
Yeah. I got you. Sorry, I think you just froze for a sec, but yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so what do you think when you see this? I don't know if it's you or me that froze, irrelevant right now, but what comes to mind when you hear a video like this where government officials are trying to prevent the department that's supposed to regulate them?
So, I mean, I read a little bit about this case, and that it seemed like it was pretty like activist judge type stuff. I mean, so with what he's doing specifically, I'm going to take on a case by case basis. There are definitely there's a lot of fat that needs to be cut from the federal government. The things we've heard so far, like the actual examples, like the Politico thing, and just example after example after example of ridiculous money spent by USAID. I fully agree with all that. I should say I do not agree with FDIC. They defunded, which is the Consumer Protection agency or something. I think that's a useful agency. I think it protects consumers, and I would disagree with that. That said, I mean, how many times have we heard over the past couple of years elections have consequences? The guy is the president. He gets to pick who he wants to work for him. Like they talk like it's Elon Musk just twiddling his mustache and just like Scrooge McDuck swimming in the pile of coins. But whatever he's doing, Trump's aware of it. Trump wants him to do it, and it's going to come back on Trump. That's how accountability and leadership works. Right. So if he is allowing Elon Musk to just have free reign and do whatever he wants, and he starts cutting things that are actually going to hurt people, it's going to come back on him. So, I mean, I would say I do not want judges to be, unilaterally deciding what elected officials can do. And you could say Musk isn't elected, but that's not how government works. Donald Trump was elected. He gets to pick who works for him. That's how it works. And I mean, I don't. I think, my advice to them would be, be careful what you're doing, because, there are a lot of people like me out there who are willing to give you a shot. I want to see what you're going to do, but by no means are you going to get a free pass to just do whatever you want? By no means are we fanboys or like that. So I would say, broadly speaking, I'm okay with what he's done for the most part. There's some things I don't like, but as a lefty, when the conservatives hold power in all three branches of government, there's going to be things that I don't like. I'm not going to cry about it. I do not agree that I think the judge was wrong with what he did.
I agree. And by the
What's your,
way,
I mean,
as
I'm
per
sure I know what
Miriam,
your take is, but I'd like to hear.
I'll put another video prior to this. I'll play the Kim video after, because again, as much as I have my opinion, I have a full podcast that I talk about my really conservative opinion. My role here is to just I just want to have people think for a second, because when I hear this, all I can see is all that comes to mind is, what do you have to hide? What are you hiding? What are you hiding? And you will see after the Trump
Ooh,
video that
we're
I'm going
getting a
to
lot
show
of
now.
comments here. I like.
Yep. So you're the one that keeps freezing, by the way, as per Miriam. So thanks for letting me
Yeah,
know.
I think I'm good. I
Um,
think I'm good now. Should be.
the Congress is the body to which bodies are accountable for spending, not official adenoid cases. I'm not sure what adenoid is, but
Um, I
let me
mean,
see.
I don't know enough about how it
Trump,
works. I cannot
Trump.
imagine that Congress is the only, like, the executive branch has power to
100%.
control some spending. I'm not sure exactly what, so I'm
100%.
not going to opine on it.
The thing is, am I okay with them cutting funds right away? I'm not. I like to know what the funds was used for before you actually cut them. That is the number one thing. I don't think that within 3 weeks of a new administration, they should just go and already start cutting the fat. What I think they should do is fucking build data, and just look at the numbers. Just say, okay, those are the numbers. What is relevant? What's not relevant? And I would be, one thing that I would love to see is for us to just get access to that information, just to say, you can go to DOGE, and you can see everything that they're thinking about cutting, and even there's nothing stopping them from taking votes, even if the votes don't come from the right place, just to get a feel of what people are thinking. But Trump doesn't have, this is Sister McKay is saying that Trump doesn't have unlimited authority. He doesn't, but at the same time, he's been in office for 3 weeks. So what do you expect? Of course, he is saying, he is doing right now what he said he was going to do. And as much as a guy like Elon Musk is not an elected official, he was chosen by Trump to do a job, and that's the job he's doing right now. So however you feel about if it's okay or not, Trump was chosen, and he has the power to do what he's doing right now. Like the federal block that the judge put in place it's a temporary measure to try to they're not trying to prevent him. They're just going to try to slow the process while they try to shuffle in the background. This is the thing. It just does not look good. I don't care who you voted for. It does not look good. And you'll see, as I showed the 2 other videos I want to show, it's not looking good. It looks.
Just before you show that video, I just wanted to add, like, kind of what you were saying. Like I said, I haven't seen anything except for the FDIC that I disagree with that they've cut at DOGE. But I would say that the pace of the overall cutting does have me a little, I'm going to say, skeptical. Like I unless maybe they had a shit ton of research done beforehand. Like I certainly do not think it's good policy to go in there just hacking at everything. It should be targeted. It should make sense. But if they're cutting things that are hurting people, it's going to come out. Like it's not, and it's only going to hurt them. Now, like the commenter said, Trump doesn't have unlimited authority. Of course he doesn't. And there is, that's what the court system is for. I do not know enough about the constitutional authority of the branches of government to know where this spending falls under. But I definitely do not think that, like, the president certainly will have some discretionary power over the idea that only Congress can touch anything to do with money. That's not correct. That's wrong. There are some things that are like that Trump can't touch, but to say he can't touch anything is just not correct. And then now we're just debating whether the stuff he's doing falls within that range. And I would encourage the Democrats to bring cases into federal judges, specifically, if he's actually breaking the law, because that is what they are there for.
As per G, it's just G alone, the courts are the arbiter between executive and legislature. And
yeah, exactly.
That is true. But at the same time, I don't think that should just be one judge. That should be the whole federal judges that needs to decide, not one single person that gets to block it just because they themselves disagree. There's a lot of other judges that are supposed to be taken into consideration when those blocks. So
I think usually how it'll go is when they appeal it, it'll go before like a panel.
But this is exactly my point. All they're doing right now, that judge is just trying to put a break on what's going on. That's it. That's all they're doing. They cannot stop what's going on. They're just trying to put a break on it. And it's just that this is just the first video. Like, watch the second and then watch the third and tell me it doesn't smell fishy.
President Trump praising Elon Musk this weekend and his efforts to reshape the federal government.
I've had a great help with Elon Musk, who's been terrific.
Trump doubling down after Musk's Department of Government Efficiency has shaken up Washington in the last few weeks, gaining access to some of the country's most sensitive payment systems and disrupting U.S. foreign aid programs.
Bottom line, you say you trust him. Trust Elon? Oh, he's not gaining anything. In fact, I wonder how he can devote the time to it.
The president now saying he will tell Musk to do the same with the American education system and the Pentagon.
To go check the Department of Education. He's going to find the same thing. Then I'm going to go to the military. We're going to find billions, hundreds of billions of dollars of fraud and abuse.
The changes so far have faced a number of legal challenges. Today, their buyout offer from federal workers will face a hearing. And over the weekend, another judge temporarily blocking DOGE's access to the Treasury Department. The Trump team and now Musk suggesting a judge's decision may not be the final say. Musk posting that the judge should be impeached. Vice President J.D. Vance writing judges aren't allowed to control the executive's legitimate power. And the president weighing in on the legal hurdles twice yesterday.
I disagree with it 100%. I think it's crazy. No judge should frankly be allowed to make that kind of a decision. It's a disgrace.
With Democrats sounding the alarm.
We are at a point where we are basically on the cusp of a constitutional crisis, seeing this administration taking steps that are so clearly illegal.
And the next agency potentially on the chopping block, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. It has been taken over by Trump's budget director, Russell Vought. Its employees told to work from home without much explanation as to why. All this as Musk posted on X, CFPB, RIP.
So clearly Trump doesn't agree with what's going on, obviously. Obviously, Trump's now, should the judge be impeached? I think that's exaggerating. I think Musk is just fucking trying to be outrageous now. Because as per what I'm concerned, that's from the way I see it, judges, that's why we give them power, is so that they can do this type of stuff. Now, should they be able to do it alone, or should it always be done by a panel? That's a different story. That's a different question. But we all know if you see what's going on right now, they're just trying to put a stop to it, like we've said before. And we'll have to wait and see what happens. But this is not the part that worries me. Like, that part, you know what? It happens all the time. It doesn't matter that it's a...
I mean, this is just politics as usual, what this is right now. This is, you know, 100%. That's what either side's going to do. Try to slow the opposition. You know, that's
fine.
That is what it is.
And I don't think that DOGE should be going at the speed that they're going. They shouldn't be cutting the fat already. They've only been there for less than 3 weeks. They should be analyzing the data and figuring out what comes next.
Look at it. Yeah, exactly.
But you know that, again, like I said, this always happens. No matter which president, there's always going to be people that are going to battle what the president's trying to do. That's the job of the opposition. So no problem. That's how it works. But what I don't like, what really bothers me is you saw the politician that was speaking at the end, the Asian guy. His name is Andy Kim. But he the way he is really bothers me. You only saw like a snippet of that interview, but I got the 3-minute video right now that we should listen to. And you tell me afterwards how it rubbed you, because I can tell you right now, it rubbed me the wrong way, as in they're still not fucking learning.
Know that the battles are playing out in the court. They are also playing out in protests and rallies. Senator Chuck Schumer, the minority leader in the Senate, held a news conference that was a lot like a rally outside of the Treasury Department to counter some of the actions by Elon Musk. Take a look.
I am going to stand with you in this fight. and we will win. We will win. We will win. We will win.
Are you satisfied with how your party is pushing back in this moment? Have Democrats found their footing?
Well, I want to make sure that the American people see it across the board in terms of all the different prongs of what's happening. You know, there is the litigation side, legislation, the oversight, the communication, and I'll also add the mobilization that you saw there. When it comes to litigation, what we've seen so far, dozens of lawsuits. You know, this is something that the senators, we had been in touch with the state's attorney general ever since November, talking about what comes next. And you see so far, right now, the state's attorney generals are 3 for 3 in terms of being able to move that forward. You know, now we're also proceeding with the legislation side. We have the continuing resolution. Basically, in a few weeks, the Republicans are going to try to figure out how they move forward. And they have, for the last 2 years, needed Democratic votes for every single continuing resolution, and they should not count on that this time around.
Okay, you take me to my next question, because your colleague Jeff Merkley basically said he's prepared to try to shut down the government over some of these sledgehammer actions that he's seeing by Elon Musk. Are you prepared to shut down the government, to join Democratic colleagues who want to stand in the way of keeping the government open?
Well, you have to look at what the Trump administration is doing right now. They are simply trying to, they are simply trying to dismantle the government. So yes, look, if we have to take steps to be able to hold them accountable, use the leverage that we have to force it, I cannot support efforts that will continue this lawlessness that we're seeing when it comes to this administration's actions. And for us to be able to support government funding in that way, only for them to turn it around to dismantle the government, that is not something that should be allowed.
So just to be clear, Senator, you are open to voting yes to shut down the government, to make this point.
This is on them. This is about whether or not they can get the votes. They are the majority. And if they cannot govern, then you know, that's for the American people to see. But I've worked in government. I've worked through multiple government shutdowns. I would be the last person to want to get to that stage. But we are at a point where we are basically on the cusp of a constitutional crisis, seeing this administration taking steps that are so clearly illegal. And until we see a change in that behavior, we should not allow and condone that, nor should we assist in that.
All right. So, yeah, I definitely have some thoughts on that. I actually think that shutting down the government is a valid political move. There's a huge caveat to that, though, especially when you are completely out of power. That is essentially the only lever that Democrats have to play. However, when you shut down the government, that people are going to pay attention, and they will pay attention in a way that they normally do not. So you need to be very, very, very careful here. I don't think we actually know enough yet to know if what's being cut is actually, you know, lawless, as they're saying, if he's actually trying to dismantle the government, as he's saying. Me and you and just anyone not in the government, we can't know. Anyone who says that we can is lying or a fool. I think the only common sense take anyone can have right now is, yeah, you can feel a certain way, but we just don't know enough. Now, that said, Democrats, as you know, they are in the government, they are part of it. They will have some idea. You know, they've got people in these agencies. They're going to have that kind of intelligence. So if they know, if they feel that what Musk is doing is genuinely, you know, cutting programs that are either illegal or actually going to hurt people, then I think it's a valid move. But they need to be very, 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 very careful, because as soon as you go down that route, the public is going to pick a side, and they are going to look at it. They're going to look at it in a way most people don't really give a shit about politics, you know, the way that, say, me and you might, you know, follow it all the time. Most people don't care that much. They want to go, they're worried about their own lives. They want to work. They want to spend time with their families. They want to, you know, be able to afford to live. But once you shut down the government, everybody pays attention. And if you are not right, you are going to be punished severely. And the Democrats, you know, they have such little power right now as is, you know, they need to be very careful. Now, if they're sure that there's some there, then I think that's a valid move, and I would support that. But if they're not, they're going to get fucking hammered, and they're just going to give Trump even more power and more sway, because all he's going to do is say, hey, from now on, it's going to be, remember that time they shut down the government because of that bullshit reason? And you're going to see it. Like, every time they do a shut down the government, the public is pretty clear one way or the other who they blame. And if they blame the Democrats for it, they are essentially going to unshackle Trump going forward. And this early in his administration, I mean, it's basically an all-in move. And I would not do it if I'm the Democrats. If you're bluffing, do not do it. This is not the play to make. Now, if you've got pocket aces under there,
but they don't. They're not.
Well, I don't think either of us know.
No, we do. It's pretty simple.
Well, I mean,
look at what USAID is all about. Look at all the programs and the money that they've been giving.
Well, that's what I mean. Everything we've seen
look bad. It looks absolutely horrendous for the Democrats right now. Nothing that's come out of DOGE right now looks good for the Democrats. And what they're doing, like, listen to what he said. They're trying to dismantle the government. That's not at all what they're saying. They're exposing all the money that's been. They're literally
that's certainly
no. But hold on.
Yeah.
He said dismantle the government, hold them accountable. Hold them accountable to what? They've been 3 weeks in. They're trying to hold you accountable for what you guys have been doing for years. He said that his actions were illegal. No, they're not. He hasn't done anything illegal yet, at least. It's on them. No, it's not. You're the one doing it. You're the one complaining and complaining and complaining and having judges block what they're trying to do. So it's not on them. It's on you. And then they can't govern. 3 weeks in. We're starting the 4th week. It's the 21st day today, if I'm not mistaken. And they're saying they can't govern. They haven't started yet, bro. And this is my point. They do not have they're if you like poker, those people are fucking bluffing. And a guy like Trump and Musk is gonna call their bluff, and they're gonna look ridiculous because they keep on going down the same path that has not been working over the past year or so. People are waking up to the crap. They're waking up to the bullshit. And now you got a guy like Elon Musk that's starting to show some numbers that are fucking scary. Those numbers are scary because look at the hold on. Look at this post here from Miriam. I think with the huge amount, leave it alone, bro. I think the huge amount of governing overspending, stop it first, then deciding what's actually needed isn't a bad idea. I disagree, but I see where you're coming from. Our nation is 35 trillion in debt. Hold on, Jesus. Our nation
go on.
Is 35 trillion in debt, leaving generations of Americans carrying that weight, and a huge part of taxpayers' money going towards interest. She's right. I do agree that we need to see data, though. But that's also what we need to see when government spends money, which we never have. And again, this is the whole point of DOGE, is to be able to see where the money currently is going or where it has been, to make sure that we can not only explain it to taxpayers, but to, okay, hold on. If this is no good, fucking stop spending it.
Yeah, I think me and Miriam are pretty much right on the same page. I basically, that's exactly how I look at it. I actually think it's fine to do what they're doing so far, but again, they need to be careful here because right now they've obviously got the support of the public. When Andy Kim was saying those things, I'm thinking, like, be careful, man. You look at those, like the approval ratings. I mean, the numbers are the numbers, but what's the most important thing is that they're going up, right? That's more important than the overall number, in my opinion. So right now, the public, broadly speaking, is either okay or actually agrees with what he's doing. So if you then shut down the government and you don't have anything, if you are bluffing, as you seem to think that they are, it's not even just about looking ridiculous. You are going to completely neuter yourself for the rest of Trump's administration. You will not have a leg to stand in. So my advice would be, yeah, if you've got the goods, go for it, but do not fuck around with this. Like, keep your powder dry. Unless you have a smoking gun that there's something that we just haven't seen yet. And I don't think that exists, because I'm sure we would have seen it. I'm sure they'd be holding press conference after press conference after press conference. So, I mean, Democrats need to tread very lightly here. They have very little influence with the American public right now, and they will essentially have zero if they shut the government down based on, stuff like, oh, he's trying to dismantle the government. I've seen no evidence of that. if you've got, if you got the goods, put up or shut up, but don't bluff here. It is going to backfire spectacularly.
And not only are they bluffing, but I think they're hiding something that they don't want to get exposed. And this is what I see from a guy like Andy Kim. If you look at the body language, you look at, I don't remember the name of the politician that was in the second video, that like he's screaming like an idiot, saying that they're going to protect
Schumer?
Yeah, they're going to protect the freedom. Bro, you're not protecting anything except you. This is what it looks like. The way that they're reacting looks like they have something to hide, and it's about to get exposed, and they're very fucking scared about that. Because if it turns out that what's going on with US aid is directly coming back to politicians' pockets, like I've been saying for a long time, they're fucked. They're not only overplaying a card that they don't have, they're not even bluffing at this point. Now this is illegal. What you've been doing has been illegal, and this will dismantle the Democrat Party, because I don't think they have a leg to stand on right now, and I don't think they will have one for the next 4 years. They're screwed for at least 4 years. They have a lot of repairs to do, but they have damage control. I don't even think that we can imagine how bad it's been, because it's been it's been out of control for years. And it was under control under Trump too, because Trump did not do what he's doing right now. He did not go and analyze everything. So there's probably a shit ton of stuff that's been going on from way before him, from Obama time. Then when he got power, it just continued, because first presidency was not his that was not his main concern. But now he's going to dismantle stuff or look into stuff that's been going on for decades. And it's going to be ugly. It's going to be really ugly.
Oh, for sure. And I know, I know we've had the, disagreements about, corruption versus incompetence or inefficiency in the past. And I know you're sort of generally inclined towards corruption, but there's also, just even if you want to take the most generous take on it, the United States government is probably the most complex institution of all time. There is, even if just say hypothetically there's a world where no corruption existed, there would still be a need for something like DOGE right now. Like over decades or however long, they're just going to be spending that gets added and forgotten about, and blah blah blah. And it's almost like spring cleaning. It's just good governance. It's good policy. I saw something interesting on X the other day. There's actually been, they were saying that there's actually been DOGE or DOGE-like entities twice already before. I think one was maybe Jimmy Carter and one was FDR, but both Democrats. But the point is, it feels like it's a political thing because it's DOGE and Musk, but really, until proven that he's doing something actual criminal, just, there is a need for these kind of organizations to maybe every 10 or 20 years just take a fine-tooth comb throughout the government. And it doesn't always have to be corruption. Sometimes it's just the natural inevitability of a institution as massive as the United States federal government is just going to be by nature incredibly inefficient in a lot of ways. And it's just good governance. And I think that's what people right now see DOGE as, just mostly good governance. Like maybe they're going to make mistakes for sure. And if they're engaged in actual criminal behavior, absolutely, Democrats need to be, collecting that evidence so you can make a case for when you shut the government down. But I haven't seen anything like that. And if they're just fucking around and trying to, if they're banking on, everyone hates Trump, so whatever we like, essentially has been the strategy for the last 8 years for Democrats to deal with Trump, that is clearly not going to work. And, if I were advising the Democrats, I would advise them to tread very, very carefully here. If nothing else, save your powder, keep it dry for another day. Unless you've got the goods, of course. If you do,
but they're not playing that. They're not using their heads. They're going on emotions right now because that's what they've been doing for years. And I don't think they have anything else. They're reeling 100%. And this is what it looks like from a third party's perspective. Just looking at their behavior, it just looks like you have something to hide. this is all I get from all of them screaming and complaining like that. You're hiding something that you do not want to get exposed. Because if you had cards, you would have played them already. You're just not liking where this is going. And as the video from earlier about Trump's approval rating was showing, you should be shaking in your boots. And this is what I'm seeing. All I'm seeing is people scared to get exposed. So, well,
you
this
talk
is
about,
not
fighting.
I was going to say we're 5 minutes over.
What I see,
we're 5 minutes
oh
over.
yeah, no, just I'll wrap this up real quick. What I see when I look at the Democrats, they look like a punch-drunk fighter out there, just sort of swinging blindly. Like, my advice would be, stop it, go back to your corner, regroup, come up with a game plan. Because the Democrats, they're reeling right now. They have no answer for what Trump is doing, and the answers they're giving are not working. So that would be my advice. Will they take it? I doubt it. But yeah, interesting times for sure.
It's called damage control. That's what they should be doing right now, but seems like they won't.
Yeah.
On that note, guys, I want to remind you, on February 18th, live at noon, just the time that we normally do it, we're going to have Maxime Bernier, the leader of the People's Party of Canada. This is a big deal. Like, we're talking about a very popular politician in Canada that doesn't get the platforms that he should get because other parties don't really like what he stands for. So it's going to be very, very interesting to speak to him. And if you like this show, make sure to follow us on YouTube. Make sure to follow us on X at The Poly Orphans. If you like Rob _the Builder on X. And if you want to follow me, I'm on every single social media platform at Real Nico Lagan. And thank you for being here. Thank you for commenting.
Thanks for the comments, guys. That was great. We had a lot of fun.
We had a bunch of comments today, which is always great. We love to interact with you. That's why we do it live, right? So always comment, even if we don't agree. I love it. So yeah, on that note, we shall see you tomorrow.
We'll see you tomorrow.